1987 සිට නව්‍යකරණයෙන් ශ්‍රී ලාංකේය බැංකු ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ පෙරලියක් සිදු කළ අභිමානවත් 30 වසරක සැමරුම සම්පත් බැංකුව හෙට දින එළිය කරයි.
In your headlines tonight, President cleans up following May Day rally.
First at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
GMOA to launch island-wide strike with several trade unions. Police constable arrested for firing at Sirikotha, remanded. Alan Donald to sharpen up Sri Lankan pace attack ahead of the Champions Trophy. In international headlines, 32 people killed in IS attack on Syrian camp.
Good evening. This is your news at 9 and I'm Indivari Amwatha. We take a look at your top story tonight. The UN International Vesak Festival is to be held in Sri Lanka this year and Kandy has been chosen for the closing ceremony of the festival. In light of preparations for the event, the environmental program of the country, themed Environment is Sacred, was launched today.
The environmental service program, Parisaraya Pujaniyai, was launched at the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. The program is organized ahead of the UN International Vesak Festival in Sri Lanka during May. Under the program, other prominent locations of the city will also be cleaned. President Sirisena then handed over 2 hand sanitation machines to the Diyavadana Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala for the benefit of devotees visiting the Temple of the Tooth. Later, President Maithripala Sirisena visited the Gatambe grounds in Kandy, where the SLFP's May Day rally was held yesterday, and joined the cleaning process of the premises.
Trade unions and political parties were at full voice yesterday as they marked the International Labour Day with various May Day rallies across the country. Following celebrations, the parties were seen cleaning respective premises where the rallies were conducted. We take a look.
The Chief Minister of the Central Province and the party members were seen cleaning the Gatambe Stadium where the SLFP worked off their rally. Members of the UNP were also seen cleaning their rally grounds at Campbell Park. Meanwhile, members of the joint opposition cleaned the Goldface Green last night after the rally. Following the rally at the BRC grounds, members of the JVP were seen cleaning the garbage collected at the grounds.
The police constable who was arrested for shooting the UNP headquarters Sirikotha was remanded till the 15th of this month. He was remanded subsequent to being produced before the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court today.
A police constable who was on duty at the United National Party shot the party logo, the elephant, yesterday. Investigations have revealed that he shot the logo with his T56 automatic assault rifle. It was also ordered to produce him before a psychiatrist and obtain a report. The police media unit said that investigations are ongoing to ascertain if the constable's actions were deliberate or not.
Parliamentarian Udaya Gammampilla was granted permission to leave the country by the Colombo High Court today. The Colombo High Court Judge K.K.R. Hettiadua gave the order following a request made by the parliamentarian seeking permission to participate in a religious function in the United States. Accordingly, he is allowed to travel overseas between the 18th and the 24th of May. His passport, which was under the custody of the High Court, was released on a bail of 200,000 rupees and was ordered to be surrendered upon his return to the island. Welcome back. In your business news, Chairman of the Intercompany Employees Union, Vasanta Samarasinghe, alleges the central bank's public debt department, former Governor Arjuna Mahendran, the Bank of Ceylon and Perpetual Treasuries were all responsible for the bond issuance of February 27, 2015. He made this allegation today, appearing before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, probing the controversial central bank bond issue.
In his capacity as the chairman of the Intercompany Employees Union, Vasanta Samarasinghe had requested permission to appear before the Commission of Inquiry to discuss losses incurred by the Employees Provident Fund owing to the bond auction of February 27, 2015. According to Vasanta Samarasinghe, the EPF had made a loss of 140 billion rupees through its investment in the secondary market, although the fund was able to make profits through primary market investments. He added that the central bank has yet failed to respond to his request to issue details pertaining to transactions of the Employees Provident Fund in the secondary market. Explaining his arguments, Vasanta Samarasinghe noted that Perpetual Treasuries planned well ahead for the bond auction of February 27, 2015 by selling off treasury bills and bonds they already held. He said the primary dealer even sold off some bonds and bills at unfavorable rates in order to raise funds for the auction ahead. He added that all parties concerned with Monetary Board approval made preferences to auction-based funding over direct placement method. At the conclusion of today's session, Vasanta Samarasinghe requested the Commission to probe transactions of the Employees Provident Fund with the assistance of the central bank. He will reappear before the Commission of Inquiry tomorrow. Attorneys representing Perpetual Treasuries, former Governor Arjuna Mahendran and former Deputy Governor and Chairman of the Tender Board P. Samarasiri will cross-examine Vasanta Samarasinghe.
Sri Lanka's automobile industry player Micro Holdings attracted investment from SK Group, a Fortune 500 company and the third largest multinational in South Korea, to the tune of $30 million US. With this, Micro will aim to enter the automobile export market.
With the monetary investment being the first step in the tie-up between the two companies, a facility for vehicle assembly in Kurunagala is also being planned. As part of the strategic partnership, SK Group, the world's second largest electric vehicle battery manufacturer, plans to integrate its battery technology with Micro cars. Chairman of Micro Holdings, Dr. Lawrence Pereira, said the venture aims at developing the public transport sector and electric vehicle industry in Sri Lanka.
We are introducing Sri Lanka, being in Korea, and taking Sri Lanka to the world map. It's not the future of Micro. I'm talking the future of our country. Bringing in good technology, financial support that Sri Lanka needs. I'm sure we are opening another avenue to create more employment opportunities, more training facilities, more educational opportunities, more opportunities to learn in Sri Lanka and to work abroad and to earn much needed foreign exchange to Sri Lanka. We are not a third world country. We are a developing country. So to be a developing country or to come to a developed country stage, we have to associate a country like Korea.
In international business news, a new tax reform plan presented by the White House late last month may benefit some overseas Chinese in the United States. In a media reports today, international media cited that this will benefit Chinese in the United States. On Wednesday, US President Donald Trump rolled out a plan to lower tax rates for both individuals and businesses. If it realizes, the reform could cut the corporate tax rate and taxes for those in the higher income brackets.
但如果能省得更多的话，我们觉得可能会在设备上，就从我们的这个设备上和硬件上进行提高。做庆给咱弄的跟那个刘德华和梁朝伟说。
别看，好好的看，我还看你的推着小人去。
In your market results today, the all-share price index closed in negative territory as a result of price losses in counters such as John Keells Holdings, Commercial Bank and Ceylon Bank. Turnover failed to reach the 500 million rupee mark. Meanwhile, foreigners remained active, closing as net buyers mainly due to foreign selling in Tokyo's cement company non-voting and total foreign purchases today accounted for about 42.8% of market turnover. We now have the daily market update with RM Sivanandan from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
The benchmark all-share price index lost 2.3 points to close at 6,608.16. While the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index lost 7.75 points to close at 3,778.64. The turnover was 471.5 million rupees with 25.77 million shares changing hands in 4,688 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,907.75 billion rupees. Top 5 gainers of the day were Blue Diamonds Non-Voting, Huge International, SME Leasing, Amanata Kaful and Abans Finance. While the top 5 losers were Harish Chandra Mills, Central Investments and Finance, Blue Diamonds, Browns Capital and Kotmale Holdings. Today there were 3 crossings and the crossing turnover was 104.87 million rupees. Today's foreign purchases was 201.64 million rupees and the foreign sales was 231.45 million rupees.
And for a view of how the Colombo Stock Exchange will perform for the next week, we take a look at the forecast with Dimantha Matthew from First Capital Holdings.
Hi, I'm Dimantha Matthew, Senior Manager Research, First Capital Holdings. A strong bullish investor sentiment has developed among market participants, which is likely to result in a continued uptrend in the benchmark index, but at a much slower pace. The uptrend will be much slower than last month due to some profit taking in selected counters due to the continuous uptrend of 600 points. As a result, we continue to remain positive that foreign interest will remain strong and also that the buying interest in local high net worth and retail investors are also likely to slowly enter the market.
And the Sri Lankan rupee ended steady today amid expectations of dollar inflows from a sovereign bond issuance and syndicated loans, although importer demand for the US dollar weighed on the market after the long weekend. Sri Lanka is expected to raise up to $15 billion or rather $1.5 billion, while a sovereign bond issuance and another $1 billion US from 2 separate syndicated loans. Rupee forwards today were active with 2-week forwards closing at 153.30 to 35 per dollar compared with Friday's close of 153.30 to 40. Here's a look at how the rupee traded across other major currencies during the day. In our local stories, following the Meethotamulla tragedy, locals near the Meethotamulla high-risk zone were agitated last night due to an emergency announcement made by the Kolonnawa Divisional Secretariat. The emergency situation arose after discovering several cracks in the garbage dump.
After the announcement last night, army personnel and workers of the electricity board as well as locals vacated the area.
The police came and announced us to vacate the place. We do not have a place to go.
They said that it was about to explode and asked us to leave the place.
Derana inquired the divisional secretary of Kolonnawa about the tense situation took place last night.
We warned the locals in the high-risk zone last night. We spoke with the district secretary and arrived at the decision to evacuate the people who were in the high-risk zone. Following research, the NBRO assured that there is no risk in the area.
Meanwhile, affected locals of Meethotamulla arrived at the divisional secretariat in hope of a solution to their problems.
My house is an area of 10 perches. I built that house after working for 25 years abroad. And the things which were inside the house are worth more than 5 million rupees. So when I told the divisional secretary, he says he cannot do anything since I don't have an assessment number issued by the local authority.
Later in the afternoon, however, the electricity board workers continued the repair work of the damaged high voltage lines. In the meantime, UNP parliamentarian S.M. Marikkar visited the high-risk zone. Following research by the NBRO, the high-risk status was lifted from the zone. Meanwhile, tenants were seen evacuating their residence today.
3 persons were reported dead following their participation in the international May Day rallies held in Colombo yesterday. According to reports, 2 of the deceased are supporters of the joint opposition and the other is a supporter of the United National Party.
One of the persons to perish is 61-year-old W. Chandrapala, who is a father of 2. Reported to be a resident of Panagama Maudella, he had participated in the May Day rally with his wife and the neighbours.
The uncle was walking behind me. Then I saw him falling down. When we took him to the hospital by a trishaw, we got to know that he was dead.
In the meantime, the other deceased is 80-year-old Victor Silva from Kandy. The 2 dead bodies are currently resting at the Colombo National Hospital, and the director of the Colombo National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said the reason for the deaths are not yet ascertained. In the meantime, an individual who attended the May rally of the United National Party organised at the Colombo Campbell Parks has died in an accident on the way home from the rally. The 2 dead bodies are currently resting at the Colombo National Hospital, and the director of the Colombo National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said the reason for the deaths are not yet ascertained. In the meantime, an individual who attended the May rally of the United National Party organised at the Colombo Campbell Park has died in an accident on the way home from the rally. The 44-year-old victim, who lived in Sigiriya Navagammanaya, lost his life due to the heavy injuries caused by the falling of the footboard of the bus at around 2 a.m. while he was travelling. The bus driver has been arrested for the accident.
He called at about 12 and asked me to cook something and said that they are on the way. I had cooked, but he did not come. He still didn't come, though it was 4 in the morning.
And the Government Medical Officers Association is planning an island-wide strike on the 5th of May. GMO made the revelation during a media briefing today in Colombo following discussions with trade unions and associations affiliated to health, teaching and transport sectors.
The Government Medical Officers Association is restoring to island-wide trade union action based on 3 demands. Accordingly, they demand a halt to vesting Citum on the public without the approval of the Sri Lanka Medical Council, jeopardizing the employment market through international trade agreements such as ETCA, and reducing pensions as well as privatization of state institutes.
In order to solve this Citum issue, all the relevant parties have come together, including the student unions. Accordingly, we will resort to a trade union action on the 5th of May. Through this action, we are hoping to send a clear message to the government that says we're taking this issue quite seriously.
21 trade unions have confirmed their participation in a strike organized on Friday. Nurses, teachers and students will all gather for this strike. It's a one-day strike, and if the government does not respond to our action, then we plan to make a decision on the 9th on a long-term strike action.
After discussions with the GMOA today, other trade unions and associations related to health services revealed that they too have agreed to support the strike on the 5th of May.
We have unanimously agreed to join the strike action on a date the GMOA decides.
We are telling the public that the strike is conducted to safeguard your own health safety.
As the Sri Lanka Nurses Association, we have agreed to give our support to this trade union action.
Meanwhile, addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today, the All Ceylon Transport Workers Union and Ceylon Teachers Services Union also pledged their support for the strike action by the GMOA.
As the All Ceylon Transport Workers Union, we are supporting the GMOA on this issue.
We had long discussions with the GMOA. On the 25th of April, we emphasized that we will be joining their trade union action.
We are inviting all the teachers and principals to join the strike action by GMOA to oppose government's plan to privatize the education.
Meanwhile, Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Partali Champika Ranawaka responded to the decision by the GMOA at a media briefing held in Colombo today.
Rights of the trade unions is one thing, But it's an entirely different matter to hold the lives of the people to ransom.
ඒවා තමන් අතර ගන්න දඟලන වෑයම තවත් එකක්.
Moving on to other local news tonight, the joint opposition says that the government should understand the message given by the people through the May Day rally held at the Golface Green yesterday. Addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today, the joint opposition highlighted yesterday's May Day rally, indicated the support of them for the former president.
At this moment, I am thankful to the police service who supported us. No matter what issues we faced, our May Day was honestly troublesome for the police because the roads they lined up were not enough. The police officers in those locations made decisions to open a number of roads to allow us to travel. We value the officers who made practical decisions. President Mahinda Rajapaksa took on the responsibility of holding the May Day rally at the Golface Green. At that time, even we had doubts as whether we would be able to fill this ground. But historically, he has taken on impossible responsibilities. We must especially remember that UNP's State Minister, Harsha De Silva, who, when we had a large crowd, he spoke to Minister Uday Gammampille and personally sent 2 ambulances.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party should form a separate government after the agreement of a national government expires. The Minister of Social Empowerment and Welfare, S.B. Dissanayake, made the remarks, responding to questions raised by media in Kandy today.
ජනාධිපතිතුමන් සඳහන් කර ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ රජයක් සෑදීම සඳහා එක්වන්න කියලා. ඒ ආකාරයෙන් සඳහන් කිරීම ජාතික ආණ්ඩුවට යම්කිසි හානියක් නේ ඔවුන්ගේ තියෙන සහයෝගය සාමයේ.
නෑ එහෙම නෑ. මොකද මේ පක්ෂ දෙක
No. This long-term alliance is not good for both parties and also to the country. These are the 2 main democratic parties of the country. Both President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe know that if we go together, we will face a huge issue. We do not agree on policies of the United National Party, and the United National Party do not agree with some of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party policies. This government will be stuck at a point. President, the Prime Minister and the United National Party, Sri Lanka Freedom Party as well as the United People's Freedom Alliance got together to achieve various goals. One is to reduce the executive powers of the presidency through the amendment of the 19th Constitution, absorbing presidential powers to the Parliament, absorbing some of the powers to the Election Commission, absorbing some powers to the Constitutional Council, and also establishing the electoral system were some of the aims. The main reason for the alliance of the 2 parties is that we were able to build up a friendship between the United Nations and the world, and we have succeeded in doing so.
ජයග්‍රහණය කරලා තියෙනවා. අද ලෝකය අපිට මිත්‍රයි.
And in your sports stories, Liverpool midfielder Emma Can scored one of the best goals of the season last evening to help Liverpool to a valuable 1-0 away last night.
Philippe Coutinho was forced off early in the first half for the Reds with a thigh knock.
See Prudhoe's taken out of the game. He doesn't get anywhere near the ball and leaves his mark.
With their talisman off the pitch, enter Emre Can. Can latched on to Lucas's pass with an overhead kick to claim the only goal of the game just before first half. The Reds sit third with a 3-point lead over 4th-placed Manchester City and 8 points behind 2nd-placed Tottenham Hotspurs, although the 2 sides have a game in hand.
And in cricket, rising Pune Super Giants and Mumbai Indians hit up the IPL last night on their way to victory over Gujarat Lions and Royal Challengers Bangalore, respectively.
Gujarat Lions managed 161 in 19.5 overs, with Brendan McCullum top scoring with a 25-ball 45. True fireworks, however, came off the bat of Ben Stokes during the Pune chase. He smashed a 63-ball century, helping Pune to victory.
Sorry, my mistake. It's not big. It is huge.
In the earlier match, Mumbai Indians chased down a target of 163 runs put on by the Royal Challengers Bangalore. RCB batted first with A.B. de Villiers top scoring with a knock of 43. Mitchell McClenaghan was the pick of the bowlers for Mumbai with 3 scalps. In reply, Mumbai got over the line with a delivery to spare. Rohit Sharma was the star with his unbeaten 56.
And a win for the Mumbai Indians.
In your headline-making sports story tonight, in a media briefing held today, Sri Lanka Cricket announced that former South African pace bowler Alan Donald will take on the role of Sri Lanka's fast bowling consultant. This was officially announced today. He expressed confidence that he could take on Sri Lanka's pace bowling performance to new heights.
Alan Donald has signed a deal to consult Sri Lanka Cricket for a period of 2 months as they prepare for the Champions Trophy scheduled in England in June this year.
The bowlers have been very fortunate in that there are some very good bowling coaches in our system already, and they've done a lot of good work. I'm sure all of you have seen the progress that the young fast bowling group have made, and I think now for Alan to be able to add his expertise and his knowledge. He's coached a number of international teams, he's coached at the RPL, he played for so many years at the highest level, so that the extra little bit of knowledge that he's got will be of huge advantage for our young bowling group.
The new Sri Lanka fast bowling consultant Alan Donald addressed the media.
I'm very privileged to be here working with Sri Lanka in a very short stint. Coaching capacity, it is a fantastic opportunity to work with a very talented group of people, fantastic coaching group that is going over to the UK. It's a great squad that's been selected for this Champions Trophy. It was my first go to actually be in the same side as Lasith Malinga. I've seen enough of him destroying attacks, especially in one day cricket, so it'd be nice to work on the same side as him for a change.
The tension in disputed Kashmir continues to escalate as militants fighting Indian rule in the region ambushed a bank van yesterday, killing 5 policemen and 2 bank officials before fleeing with bundles of cash. The attack occurred in southern Kashmir when the van was returning after dispensing cash in local branches of a state-run bank.
Security experts say militants have been intermittently attacking cash vans or banks in Indian Kashmir to ensure funding since the government suddenly outlawed high-value banknotes and replaced them with new currency bills in November last year. In a separate incident, India erupted in protest over the alleged killing of 2 Indian soldiers and mutilation of their bodies by their Pakistani counterparts. Pakistan, however, has denied the accusation levelled by India. The victims had been patrolling the de facto border between the 2 countries at the time of the attack.
Latest comments by US President Donald Trump indicate that he might be partial to a meeting with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The US head of state has said that he would meet the North Korean leader if circumstances were right. Trump's remarks yesterday were followed by a White House statement insisting that North Korea's provocative behavior should be ratcheted down for the meeting to happen.
During an interview with Bloomberg News, President Donald Trump said, quote, "If it would be appropriate for me to meet with him, I would be honored to do it. Most political people would never say that, but I'm telling you, under the right circumstances, I would meet with him," unquote. Responding to questions from media on the remark, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer had this to say.
We've got to see their provocative behavior ratchet down immediately. There's a lot of conditions that I think would have to happen with respect to its behavior. Clearly the conditions are not there right now.
The comments come amid escalating tensions over North Korea's nuclear program and a day after Trump complimented the North Korean leader, calling him a smart cookie.
Also in international news, more than 32 people, including civilians and Kurdish-led fighters, have been killed in an attack by so-called Islamic State militants in Syria near the country's northeastern border with Iraq. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports that at least 5 IS suicide bombers blew themselves up at a makeshift camp for displaced Syrians and Iraqi refugees. Militants reportedly abducted dozens of civilians during the attack. IS fighters also clashed with members of the Syrian Democratic Forces stationed at a nearby checkpoint. On to your weather forecast for tomorrow now. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most provinces of the island during the afternoon hours. The highest temperature can be expected in Jaffna, with temperatures rising up to 32 degrees Celsius, while the lowest can be expected in Norelia, with temperatures varying below 22 degrees Celsius. Temperatures in Colombo can reach up to 29 degrees Celsius tomorrow. Let's now take a look at the city-by-city weather forecast for tomorrow. That's all from your primetime news at 9, and before we go, we'd like to leave you with the visuals from our Laksapana Falls situated in Muskelia, standing at 126 meters. It is the 8th highest waterfall in Sri Lanka. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana, 24/7.